It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Friday, the 12th of September. I'm Michael Groff. We've got a few clouds out there right now, but most of the shower and thunderstorm activity today will be confined to mainly northern and eastern Arizona. However, where those storms occur, they could become severe with some strong, damaging straight-line winds and some large hail. We even had a brief tornado warning issued by the National Weather Service in Flagstaff earlier this morning. So it's going to be an active day over parts of the state, but for us, fairly quiet conditions. Temperatures will be down a little bit today, down further tomorrow. We might not even make 100 degrees, and then a bit of a warming trend as we go into next week. The other thing that happens next week is quite a bit of forecast uncertainty comes into the mix, and a lot of that revolves around the ultimate evolution of our latest tropical storm that's on the board, and that's Mario, and that's sitting off the coast of Mexico this morning. We'll talk about all of the implications of that, what's going on out there, so much to get into, plus it's Friday, so we've got your photos to get to, and we'll do all of it in just a moment. Hey everyone, it's Michael Groff here to talk to you about your roof. With all the extreme weather we have in Arizona, you need a name you can trust, and that's why you should call Blackstone Roofing Group for all of your roofing needs. Call for your free inspection today. Big or small, they do it all. Tile, shingle, or flat roofing, they can help. Offering free inspections and more. Roofing made easy. Call 602-536-9363 or visit blackstoneroufinggroup.com to schedule your free inspection today. And if you tell them Michael Groff sent you, they'll take $500 off the price of your roof replacement. Again, that's 602-536-9363 or blackstoneroufinggroup.com. Yes, so it is Friday, and that does mean it's Photo Friday. That's where we take a look at some of the photos and or videos that you guys have submitted. First up, David Parnell. That's the dude that took this picture. Last Saturday was the time, the place, Perry High School football ongoing. And he tells me that, first of all, temperatures were in the mid-90s. It was very humid, and one of the players apparently suffered from dehydration in this game. And I say this on every video, I mean it at the end of the videos. Stay cool, stay hydrated. That doesn't just apply to the old folks. It doesn't just apply to the very young. It applies to everybody, and that includes teenagers. I know you think you're invincible, but I tell you, you're not. Everybody should stay hydrated as best they can, especially when you're out there doing strenuous activity like, I don't know, playing football, especially here in Arizona this time of the year. All right, then we'll take a look at some pictures from Beth in North Phoenix. Beautiful stuff there, some cumulus clouds. We love to see that. Thank you so much, Beth, for those pictures. We head outside of Arizona. This is up in Montana. These are from Buck, and they've had a little bit of everything. Storms, wildfires, beautiful weather, and it's going to start getting cooler up there sooner rather than later, certainly before it does here. And so it is a great time to be up in Montana. That's not the only place it's a great time to be. And we'll show you some more pictures from outside of Arizona in a moment. This is from Chris Flores. He took this picture the other day. Some nighttime storm activity. I don't know where this was exactly, but it is a sensational picture. He has sent in some very prolific lightning shots of late. Those are always going to make their way onto these videos. And you know what else is always going to be on here? These pictures like this from David Nielsen. Oh my goodness. Talk about a place you want to be. This is east of Driggs, Idaho. This is actually in Wyoming in the Alaska Basin. Outside of Driggs, Idaho, in Wyoming, in a place called the Alaska Basin. You following all that? Well, you should, because this is a beautiful part of the country near the Teton Valley. Glorious. And again, this is the time of the year to be up there before it gets too bitterly cold. Well, the leaves are about to start changing color up there. It's great. So, and of course, you can always get out of the heat here in the valley. Any excuse you have to get out of the heat, whether you're going to Montana, whether you're going to Wyoming, whether you're going to northern Arizona, eastern part of the state, wherever you go, it's a good time to do that. All right, and then this is from Dan over at the Courtroom Files YouTube channel. That is Ellie, and of course, Ellie is one of Dan's cats, and I dare say, sorry to say this, Dan, really the star of that channel. I mean, there's no question about it. Ellie, whether she wants to be or not, she just sort of takes over. But what is she doing there? She's watching our video. So she's watching the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. I appreciate that. Ellie, I appreciate that. Dan, thank you so much. That is an awesome picture. We meant to show that a couple of weeks ago, but had some issues with OBS that week with getting everybody's photos in. And then Joe is on the plane coming back from Atlanta to Phoenix. And whenever you're on a plane, sit next to the window, snap some pictures, send them in to us. Because why not? I mean, glorious pictures like that are always going to make their way on here as well. Miles Sampson up at Happy Jack. And again, hey, getting outside the valley, going up north, going over to the eastern part of the state, wherever you go in the high country, do it. Great pictures there. All right, we had a comment from Barbara. She said that we need more Freya. So, in a nod to that, we'll go with an oldie but a goodie. This is a picture of Freya and Topaz. Freya is our cat. Topaz is one of our dogs. She's an Aussie. And this is, we've shown this picture, I think, on the channel before, but this is from like last year. But I think that's a particularly cute picture of Freya just hanging out on the couch. Topaz right there. They kind of have they kind of get along, sort of. Freya and Topaz. I mean, Freya runs the house. That's anybody that has a cat knows that. Cats run the house. They just let you live in it. So that's that. And then, of course, we have Buddy. This is our old man. He is a Shepherd Beagle mix. And this is a very common sight for Buddy, just lying down, doing what Buddy does, sleeping. He's 15 years old. That's what you do at that age, I guess. He's not on his dog bed in this picture for whatever reason. He just flopped over on the floor and said, I'm done. And he's out. And then another picture of Topaz on her dog bed. And another picture of Topaz. Again, this is an older picture, but you just, kind of go with some of the best of stuff there. So really, you guys ask for these pictures, we'll give them to you. All right, then this is, of course, talk about pictures that people ask for. More stuff from Ryan Seek. He is our official monsoon photographer. And of course, as the season winds down, we'll unfortunately see less of these. Now, of course, we can still get thunderstorms in the cool season. And if we do, he will have pictures of them. He sends in other pictures too. This isn't just the only stuff that he does, but I will say he is fantastic at it. So we're going to miss these shots because it also means that we're getting less storms and less rain and less cool stuff like that to talk about here on this channel. But hey, there's always weather going on somewhere, right? But anyway, thank you, Ryan. These are fantastic pictures. By the way, if you're wondering where those are taken, most of those were down there near Casa Grande. One of them was near Tabletop. And then, of course, we go international. This is from Zane down in Brisbane, Australia. Believe it or not, they actually have the same sun and moon that we do. How about that? Fun fact you learned on this video today. And also, Australia is a picturesque place. And somebody else in Dan's community named Bo might be sending in some pictures to us as well from the land down under. And yes, Australia, a place where, I mean, I don't know. Every picture is a postcard. Yes, just about everything there will kill you if you've ever watched any sort of documentaries or anything about the wildlife there. They have 15-foot long snakes. They have birds that are bigger than humans. They have spiders the size of dinner plates. But still beautiful place. Can't beat that. All right, outside of that, we have a video to run here. This is from Jim up in Prescott Valley. A time lapse of a storm approaching, and we love to look at these time lapse videos, and we could look at these all day. I love this stuff. So that, my friends, is Photo Friday. Now, if you have a photo or video that you'd like to submit, and again, it does not have to be just from Arizona. It does not have to be any specific thing. It can be of anything. So just send it in to us. groffshow@gmail.com is our email address. It's groffshow@gmail.com for Photo Friday. Yes, even pictures of food. We've had plenty of those on here as well. If you know the host, you know that pictures of food are always going to wind up on here. I thought you just talked weather. Yeah, we could do a food channel here. We've talked about that before, especially when the weather gets kind of quiet. We've sometimes done a half a video just talking about different kinds of food. All right, let's get into it. The almanac from yesterday, 104 degrees the afternoon high, 82 is the morning low, 102 and 80 are the averages for this time of year, so a couple of degrees above average. 112 degrees the record high from 1990. Looking outside right now at 12:30 p.m., we've got some clouds out there. We're sitting at 95 degrees at Sky Harbor, but the dew point's crept back up to 61, relative humidity 32%, the winds are light, the barometer falling. Satellite picture out here across the southwest, and you can see what's been going on here. That upper low, that trough is continuing to move closer to us. Eastern Arizona is under the difluent part of that, difluent flow aloft, and that's allowing those air parcels to rise and form into showers, thunderstorms, and even a few supercell storms in that part of the state. And those could continue into the afternoon hours. And that's why we do have that risk for some strong storms there. Now, for us, though, as the axis of that trough moves on through, yes, the drier air is going to come back in. We've kind of had this seesaw battle of drier air versus the moist air to the south. The moist air is coming back in this morning, and it'll be around this afternoon, but it's going to dry out again overnight. And we should see at least a couple of days of some pretty dry weather around here before some moisture might start to seep back in next week, which we'll get into in more detail in a moment. The watch warning map, we've got some flood watches over parts of New Mexico and Colorado. Otherwise, things are relatively quiet across the country. Convective outlook for today, the standard slight risk of severe storms, level 2 out of 5 over portions of Montana, Wyoming, and the Dakotas, as well as right there over northwest New Mexico and into portions of Colorado. Now, in eastern Arizona, there's that low end marginal risk of severe storms, level 1 out of 5. And that includes places like Benson and Douglas, Bisbee, Sierra Vista, Safford, and further north up toward the Four Corners. And in that area in darker green, you could see a few storms that produce wind gusts to 60 miles per hour, as well as some hail, inch to inch and a quarter in diameter. And as we saw earlier this morning, maybe even a brief spin-up tornado cannot be completely ruled out over in the eastern part of the state today, or even over portions of northern northeast Arizona. That is a distinct, albeit very small, possibility. Now, we're not going to see some massive EF4, long track violent tornado. These would be very brief little spin-ups or maybe even a land spout type tornado. But when you have supercells that develop, those mesocyclones, if one of those briefly roots in the boundary layer, you could get, brief tornado. That's not out of the question. Now, Phoenix is technically kind of right there on the edge of the green for thunderstorms. Mathematically, I suppose the chance of rain in Phoenix today is not 0, but it's not enough to put it into the forecast. So we mostly expect to stay dry here. All right, the tropics in the Atlantic Basin, not much to get too excited about here, although we actually have something on the board. We have a tropical wave that's off the African coast right now. Low chance this develops over the next 2 days. About a 40% chance this develops over the next 7 days into a tropical depression or storm. But the overall flow pattern out here in the Atlantic, this should probably gain latitude. This will not be anything to worry about, of course. We're going to keep an eye on it because you just never know. And it's been such a quiet season that something is bound to pop here and threaten somebody at some point. I mean, I don't think we're going to go the rest of the hurricane season without anything being a threat to at least somebody, whether it's Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Cuba, or the United States or Mexico. Somebody is liable to see something here at some point because, again, it's just been so quiet for so long. All right, out in the East Pacific, we have a brand new tropical storm. That's Mario. That's off the Mexican coast. Now, this is not expected to become anything major. This should remain as a tropical storm over the next few days, eventually fizzling out. And you might ask, well, how would that affect us, Mike? Well, first of all, this track is not necessarily set in stone. It could curve more to the northwest, and there's some of our guidance that says it will. But even if it doesn't, given the setup that we have, it is very possible that some of this moisture will get advected northward into the southwestern United States to give us some chances of precipitation. That is where the forecast uncertainty is going to come into the mix as we go into next week. Speaking of precipitation, this is the outlook valid through Friday morning of next week. Rain amounts in Phoenix, not much, if anything. Statewide, the heaviest totals we found over east central and southeast Arizona, 1/10 to 1/2 inch could occur. And of course, your amount will vary. Any one storm can produce a lot more than what's shown here. This just represents an average of what we'll see across the area. So, and on all that stuff that you see over the western part of our region here, over western Arizona, southern Nevada, southeast California, well, that will come in right at the end of this period, maybe from some of that tropical moisture getting advected from whatever's left over from Mario. All right, so what's going on? What might the future hold? We'll figure it out right now as we get into the models. Take a look at things. This is the GFS, the 12Z run valid at 5 o'clock this afternoon. The upper look at 500 millibars, about 18,000 feet off the ground. All right, there's that trough just sitting to the west of us, eastern Arizona, New Mexico, the Four Corners region under that difluent flow. So again, showers and isolated thunderstorms will be possible. A few strong storms possible there too. High temperatures for us this afternoon, upper 90s to about 101. It'll remain muggy. Again, the chance of rain in Phoenix, mathematically not zero, but not going to put it in the forecast. Looking at our high-resolution guidance, this is the HRRR this afternoon at 5 o'clock. And yes, some discrete cells and maybe a stray supercell could pop up over there. But by and large, storms will be relatively widely spaced. And, you know, the main threat will be strong winds, but we could see some brief large hail out of those storms. And again, as we saw earlier this morning, a very brief little spin-up tornado can't even be ruled out in an environment like this. Tornadoes in Arizona, yes, they do happen. You never know. That might become a weather quiz question. All right, for tonight, a few clouds around. Otherwise, we become mostly clear. Overnight lows generally in the 70s to near 80. Tomorrow, we are mostly sunny. We are turning drier, and temperatures are down after the passage of that trough. Highs in the mid to upper 90s here in Phoenix. A stray storm in the southeastern part of the state, yes, but other than that, things are quiet. As we go to Sunday and heading into early next week, the flow pattern across the southwest, the upper levels we see a light westerly flow, so drier air moves in. But in the low levels, what may ultimately start to happen is we may see the flow switch back to more of a southerly to southeasterly direction. Again, that's down in the lower levels. So some surface moisture may start to creep back in, but Sunday still looks pretty dry around here. Highs in the upper 90s to about 100. Monday, an isolated shower or storm in eastern or southeast Arizona. Again, as some shallow, low-level moisture comes back in, humidity levels here might start to tick up a little bit at some point, but high temperatures will be in the upper 90s to about 102. We warm it up a couple more degrees on Tuesday. And Wednesday, highs about 99 to 104. Now, this is where the forecast starts to get pretty murky. The ultimate track of Mario and the moisture, the remnant moisture from that system, how much of that tropical moisture gets pulled northward into the southwest. Again, with a relatively disorganized flow pattern over the southwest, it is very difficult to say right now. A lot of our guidance, or at least half of it, kind of indicates at least some of that moisture coming up here for some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms, maybe as early as Wednesday, more likely by Thursday as a result of that moisture. And so we're going to have to keep an eye on how that plays out. So we'll call for maybe a slight chance of storms coming into our forecast by next Thursday. Not going to be a deluge, at least not right now. Things could change. This could turn out to be a very good rain event. This could turn out to be a big nothing burger. And if you watch these videos and you kind of know how I think about these things, generally speaking, they turn out to be nothing. But not all of them do, and that's the tricky part of forecasting this stuff. So we're going to keep an eye on how things play out. But at this point, a slight chance of showers and storms by next Thursday. High temperatures might come down a degree or two. Humidity levels slightly more elevated. Here's a week from today. This is Friday the 19th. There's an upper low that's off of the west coast. And again, we watch features like that whenever there's a tropical system down to the south, because you never know that, the interplay there, they can get pulled northward or directed northeastward toward the southwestern United States. Luckily, there's nothing like that on the board, right? Well, this is Saturday the 20th. And again, high pressure is around here, upper heights 588 to 591 decameters. So it's not going to cool off much. In fact, temperatures should rebound to around 99 to 105. Going out 10 days. This is Sunday the 21st, and we still have this upper low that's well off the west coast. And look at that. The GFS has yet another tropical cyclone down there. And so we will watch that. Of course, the GFS loves to just randomly bring in these rogue tropical cyclones, although the last couple that it has shown to show up down there off the coast of Mexico or coming up toward the Baja or whatever they have turned out to occur. And the East Pacific has been fairly active this season, so we will keep an eye on that too. Otherwise, this pattern looks like kind of a cool fall pattern for the Great Lakes and heading toward the northeast. And actually, much of the eastern part of the country will see a cool down if that's right. We will remain warm and relatively dry for the time being. Looking at rainfall for Phoenix out through the 26th of the month. This is off of the GFS ensemble. You got 31 members here. The mean, almost a third of an inch, about a half inch for the European ensemble. But look at the control member up over an inch and a half, and there's a big spread here on the European ensemble. And that indicates an uncertainty in exactly how some of this tropical moisture is going to play out over the next 7 to 10 days and beyond. Certainly, it's one of those things when the tropics become active in the East Pacific, you can see these model spreads grow because some of the ensembles will pick up on that tropical moisture moving northward. Often it does not materialize. When it does, we obviously can see some very heavy rain here in the Southwest. The European AI ensemble remains the most bullish, with the ensemble mean still up there between 3/4 of an inch and 1 inch. And you got some members on this ensemble that are up at 2 and 3 and 4 inches of rain. So is that going to happen? Probably not. But again, that's why we talk weather. You just never know. All right, looking at temperatures off the national blend of models. And overall, in a very general sense, temperatures will be within reasonable range of seasonal averages here over the next 10 days, he tried to say. And overnight lows, again, these are at Sky Harbor. Many of you will see lows getting down in the mid and upper 60s this weekend and early next week. It's going to feel glorious. You want to get out for an early morning walk? This is the time of year to do that, especially when that humidity comes down Saturday, Sunday morning. Should feel pretty nice. All right, that's going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video is due back here. Yeah, we'll do it again tomorrow morning. We can't stop. We won't stop. If you enjoy these videos, be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell, leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. If you're really enjoying what we do here, you want to support the channel, please consider doing so by clicking that thanks icon below the video here on YouTube and making a contribution to us that way, or via PayPal. groffshow@gmail.com is our PayPal address. It's groffshow@gmail.com for PayPal. Our Venmo is also linked up down in the description, so if you want to help us out, please do. All right, the executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my OAO, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation and proprietor of SweetChildAZ.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona. Talking about my Michelle, check her out, blogs, videos, everything Michelle related, Adriana related, Kylie related. It's all linked up down in the description. Check it out. And our streaming station available 24/7, 365 called KMGX. That is linked up down below as well. What do we do with that? We play a lot of music on that station, so check it out, please. And check out Dan over at the Courtroom Files YouTube channel, The Courtroom Files on YouTube, or courtroomfiles.com for all your Courtroom Files merch. Check out Dan tomorrow night. He is live 8 p.m. East, 5 p.m. Pacific. He plays video games on Saturday night. Doesn't talk court, doesn't talk anything serious. It's just a time to chill out, play some video games. That's what we should all do. If we're not out touching grass, we should touch a controller and play some games. Damn it. That's what we should all be doing. So check out Dan for that, because it's fun. It's fun, but it's also very chill. And that's cool. I mean, what could be better? I never envisioned myself spending a Saturday night watching other people play video games, but you know what? I find it very relaxing, especially, after the stresses of the week and just want to unwind. Why not? Mike, you're so lazy. You watch other people play video games. You won't even play games yourself. Hey, you know what, man? It's fun. Plus, he's playing Lego Star Wars, and I am terrible at Lego Star Wars, so maybe I could learn something by watching him. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, all of your continued support. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. I want to thank, by the way, I want to give a shout out to Denise and Stephanie and all the folks over there at Coyote Oties in Glendale. They had an open mic last night, and I was over there and participated in that. And it's a great business in Glendale. So if you get an opportunity, no, it's not sponsored. I am not paid to say. In fact, Michelle and I give them money. But Coyote Odie's in Glendale, it is fantastic. They have cookies. Yes, that's what they're mainly known for. But they also have ice cream, and now they even have like sandwiches, burgers, fries, drinks, all sorts of stuff. So check them out in Glendale. All right, for reals, that's it. Again, thank you guys so much. Please, though, I want you to be safe. I want you to stay cool, stay hydrated out there, and have yourselves a delightful rest of your Friday and a great weekend.